What is good? We're back. We're going to talk about some Dynasty running back rankings. Some guys that are kind of topical, whether they're moving up, moving down, camp hype, some contracts, Kyren Williams, and guys who are, young, getting some love right now. And, maybe a little Chase Brown sighting, of course, because if me and Big Co get together, we might have to talk about some Chase Brown. So we're going to talk about Kyren, Bucky, Chase Brown, RJ Harvey, Benson, and maybe a little Judkins on the way out, but basically like a big cluster of those guys, kind of the Kyren, Bucky, Chase Brown, Harvey area. They've all kind of had some news and notes about them in one way or the other here. So we'll get into some this or that and comparisons, but just kind of wanted to jump in here, have a general conversation, and let's kick it off with Kyren Williams. Big Co, how you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm not doing as good as Kyren Williams is doing, nor am I doing as good as all your teams with Kyren Williams on it. You said the other night when you did the live news and note show, you're like, oh, these guys, the haters going to be so upset
so mad
when Kyren gets paid. And about 8 hours later, Kyren got paid, and I just started bugging out.
Yeah, I got $23 million guaranteed. There wasn't a whole lot of contract specifics out there right now that I tried to find them before we started just to see kind of what it was.
It's it's going to be a 1-year contract, Casey.
This is probably two with $23 million guaranteed.
I'm just saying, after the nerds get in there and nerds get in there and cut it apart.
Yeah,
it's all basically. Well, basically, it's a 1 year.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Chase Brown, kind of the same guy as far as how much people hate him, and try to make reasons why to not draft him, and that he's getting replaced every single year. So we're about to do the same thing, I think, with Chase Brown that we've just done with Kyren for years, right? And Kyren gets the contract. I think it's at a minimum. I'm thinking he's sticking around in LA for 2 years. Really, the topic here is like, does it move? I think everybody was fine with Kyren as far as the redraft setting. We get into the dynasty setting, and how much are we elevating Kyren Williams? Because right now, I've kind of got him right below that rookie tier. The Amarion Hamptons, the Caleb's, Travions, RJ Harvey, and I got Bucky in there as well, right? That's kind of a tier that I have. And then I have Kyren kind of right below those guys. So I was probably maybe initially higher than a lot of people just because I think Kyren is a good player. And I don't think anybody's going to quite love him like McVay loves him, right? But he'd go somewhere and still be useful, and he'd probably drop down my rankings, but still young, been a very solid player basically his entire career, and gets rewarded for it. And so now, how much more confidence do you have in, all your Kyren teams, if they were like close to like, hey, another piece or two and I might be rebuilding, they just got some more, they got a shot in the arm, right? A shot of life.
Absolutely. We're doing this, FFPC $500 draft right now, making a couple videos about it. Go check out the FFPC, use the promo code FFD. Kyren goes 5'10", right? He just before he gets paid. This happened a couple days ago. So I think it obviously more than solidifies everything that was going on. All the current teams that have Kyren on the roster that were looking to sell and looking to try to get out when season started and he had 2 rushing touchdowns week 1, type of thing. I think catch the falling knife situation, like the knife ain't falling anymore, right? So I would imagine like this 5'10" looks really, really good in the $500 league that just happened, 3 or 4 days ago. This pick when it was made. I like you said, I don't know if he really starts jumping other running backs because he was still like, even in this draft right here, it was RB12 with Chase Brown was a pick before him, and some really fun rookies, Hampton and Henderson's in front of him, Breece Hall, Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor. Like I don't think he necessarily needs. There was, Chase Brown went 5'9" in this draft, Kyren Williams went 5'10", and then that was no running backs were taken since 4'6". Right. So more than 12 picks since there was a big, huge gap in running backs there. They were definitely the bottom of that tier. So maybe he doesn't rise too much in the actual running back rankings because he was right there at the end of an RB1 cutoff, but he probably jumps a lot of, like in a startup right now, you're probably taking him over like a Zay Flowers, who was the wide receiver. The last wide receiver taken before Kyren was Zay in this scenario. Now, not that would make that guy a running back drafter, but I'm just saying, it probably in the overall rankings, he might climb a couple, but also just like the slide that was going to be Kyren Williams through the season here as we watched him get ready to ride off into the sunset from the Rams, because we all thought they were still so snake bitten from the Todd Gurley contract. There's no way they could pay Kyren, right? They're bringing in another rookie. They got the rookie from Michigan the year before. It's yada yada yada. But then Corum, but Jarquez Hunter's here. But then if you really zoom out and you think about how much the cap room, the salary cap's exploded, and then they're paying Stafford money, but they're not paying Stafford Joe Burrow money. They don't necessarily have anybody on the offensive line crushing contract right this minute. They got a couple young. They really crushed some defense rebuilding in the last 2 years through the draft. Late, so like they don't really even have people they're paying a lot of money to. So you zoom out, it's like, all right, well, we got Stafford, we're all in. Maybe they have backup plans for Stafford later, but like Kyren does a lot for this team to help win games. He picks up every 3rd and short. He picks up every 4th and short. I mentioned the stat that I saw
touchdowns.
Right, 6-7 months ago, I hit you with the stat that he scored more touchdowns in the last 3 years than
pretty much everybody not named Saquon and Derrick Henry or something like
everybody not named Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, by the way, is about to break LaTainian Tomlinson's record for touchdowns in the season, like 15 touchdowns in a row for 3 or 4 different three seasons in a row. So like Kyren's just behind those guys in touchdowns. Yes. And so like, yes, we all make the jokes and we all have a good time talking about Sean McVay, but it's warranted, right? Mm-hmm. He converts. He didn't have a bunch of 25-yard rushes last year, but it didn't keep him from paying him, and it's not going to keep him from getting another double-digit touchdowns this year.
What you kind of alluded to there is stabilization of Kyren's market, right? And so it's not gonna. We all kind of suspected it might plummet down, and people will be trying to get out. Now, maybe there's plenty of guys who are like, well, now is my chance to get out anyway, because I wanted to get out, but now I can really get out and get better price, which is fine.
Got more time to get out. Might as well get out after week 5 when he's got 6 touchdowns on the season. Right. When you sell him to a contender if you're losing.
So stabilization in the overall kind of running back market and the market, but the other point being like probably ADP wise, like I don't know if he's going to jump a ton of running backs like you were saying. But like he may charge up past some other positional players that you're like, all right, well, now I got one more running back that I feel is a little bit longer term asset now that I can click the box on. Like, and I think Zay Flowers was a good example of like, well, I can draft Zay Flowers, and it all depends on how you're drafting and what stylistically you're going for as far as your draft is and the way you want to draft. But I think Zay Flowers was a really good example. Would you draft Devonta Smith or Kyren Williams?
We'll be back with more FFD after a short commercial break. If you're as serious as we are about Dynasty, you gotta be playing on FFPC. They are now the proud home of over 2,000 Dynasty leagues, and not a single league has ever folded. Incredible. Drafts are kicking off every day, so go over to myffpc.com and take your game to the next level. New users get $25 off their first league using code FFD. Holler at your boys.
Great question. Probably need a little context there, but Kyren Williams.
Mostly Kyren, I think, for me.
It's closer. It's much closer. And, so our ADP, our last ADP had Kyren at 5.3. And the newest ADP when it hits, like, remember mock draft Mondays back in April? Right after the draft, before the draft, especially like 2 weeks before the draft, and we're doing the mock drafts and we're talking about these players, and I'm like, well, God, these rookies are coming. These rookies are going to climb this board soon, So back then, like Egbuka wasn't ahead of Kyren Williams in a startup, Roman Dunze was in a free fall, but he stayed in for like those kind. Like he's not a rookie, but Travis Hunter wasn't probably in front of Kyren in a rookie draft back then. Marion Hampton probably was. Tet might not have been, so like you have all those rookies that could, like, guys like Kyren were the sliders. You can't have all the camp hype. You can't have all the training camp and OTA people. You can't have all the risers without somebody getting replaced. And so Kyren was the faller for, even last year when we were doing this stuff, he was a late third, early 4th Dynasty pick, and we're like, man, this is the last rodeo, this is the last year, and then next year he'll be on the end of his contract, yada yada yada. And he slid, but not maybe even as far as I would have thought. But yes, The sliding is over.
Yeah, I think that kind of tells you about some of the running back market where we're at. I think a lot of these rookies are going to be good, like you said. So I think there's a reset, but stabilization and maybe jumps ahead of some other guys in ADP. I think is a good Kyren summation here. And then the only thing I think that is concerning, and is concerning for all your Rams players right now, is the health of Matthew Stafford kind of moving forward, because Kyren's not really going to matter all that much if Matthew Stafford can't operate the offense, right? Not that it'll be irrelevant, but it's not going to be. Those be a lot less likely to have double-digit touchdowns again.
Yeah, not the same.
Not the same. So that's definitely something
McVay said Stafford would play right now if it was week 1, but that's not nobody that's loaded up with Puka, Nakua, and all the other Rams players are super excited right now about Stafford's iffy back.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking right now. All right, let's move over to Bucky Irving here. Lots been made of Bucky this offseason. Some people are like, he's not going to return on value, and he's this and he's that, and other people are like, Bucky to the moon. So where do we stand on kind of Bucky Irving's current value, right? I've kind of got him in that group with the new running backs, right? Obviously, he's kind of given you a very efficient, very good back half of his rookie year. And then obviously, the other parts of it were really good, but the back half was really what opened everybody's eyes and everyone stopped being like, yeah, but he can't do this and he can't do that, and he's not this and he's not that. And it was like, oh, whoa. He's obviously all that and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt. Well, I got him as our the first time this came out of my mouth a few months ago, it didn't feel right. Just out of due respect for Shady McCoy, because not a lot of people like Shady. I mean, outside of Eagles fans and people from Pennsylvania, like not a lot of people like to put Shady McCoy as much as I did. It's just so much fun. I almost named my dog Shady McCoy, right? So he was one of my favorite players, and Bucky Irving is so much the new Shady McCoy. And if you look at the game logs and all of the snap percentages, like he still was not getting. There's so much more meat on that bone. And then so you have people that said yes, when his volume goes up, his efficiency goes down. Most likely so, almost always, right? Yeah. That's not, but like the other thing, like the Bucs now, I think Baker Mayfield just said, like he's so much more confident in pass protection, as he's not a rookie, right? Every year we make a lot about the rookies. They don't have a real off season. They they train for the underwear Olympics, and then they have the NFL draft, and then they have the press conferences. I know Bucky was a later draft pick, so he didn't get some of that fanfare, but imagine the scenario of I'm a 5th round rookie pick and I got to prove it to everybody. And this offseason, you just were basically the savior to the running back room, like you're Bucky Irving now versus Bucky Irving a year ago today, right? You're no longer just a 5th round rookie. Like you're the man, you're the man. The team knows you're the man. And it's like, I just feel like there's packages being made for him now. There's extra special plays that could be made for him now that just wasn't necessarily due. He wasn't due that respect earlier. So I think there's so much more meat on the bone for Bucky. And then one of the main reasons that I just love the Bucky value here is he is super young. He's on an awesome. He's locked in with his quarterback, and they just picked up Igbuko, who have these aging first ballot Hall of Famer Mike Evans, borderline, Hall of Very Good Chris Godwin, right? Like they got an offense that's going to move the ball every possession. Like they're probably going to be they're going to be at the top of the list of like teams that didn't get 3 and out, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to get first downs. They're going to be able to move the ball. And for everything I said about Baker over the years, like he's an absolute stud now, and the team's behind. Like there's just momentum. Yes, right. They lost their offensive coordinator for the 2nd year in a row. There's definitely some turnover going. There's just so much behind Bucky. And I've seen a lot of things on Twitter saying if you can get the RB5-6 value out of him, you should trade away. I don't know what that means. Versus if you don't show, I don't know what that means if you don't show me the actual trades. If you show me a landslide trade for Bucky, I understand, trade him away. Yeah. But like, I don't want to be the guy that trades away Bucky right now, unless I'm getting, and that you show me the vast, awesome overpay I'm not going to go like 1-for-1 trading Bucky for another guy that gets drafted in the 4th round of a startup right now. Like Bucky's the guy I want,
Yeah. No, I mean, couple paths to go down there. And to the point of kind of what you're saying a little bit, it leans to like the crowd that's like, well, he's getting drafted at his absolute ceiling. So I don't want to, I'm just like, sometimes it's okay to draft a guy at their absolute ceiling if that's going to be their ceiling for the next 5 years. Like,
yeah, but
I'm okay with that. That's why I'm drafting him, because I want those
not
points.
His point if he's on 50%. Like if we drafted Chase Brown in the 1st round, we're drafting him at his absolute ceiling because he was scoring like a 1st round startup pick with nobody else getting snaps. Chase Brown ran out at 90% usage for the last 8 weeks, right? Bucky didn't do that. Bucky ran out at like 60% usage. You know?
And I don't know that you'll see it get terribly more than that this year, right? I think they'll still keep a nice mix of those guys. And most teams do, right? And that wasn't the Bengals plan. They were just out of guys, right?
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? And so I think there's, there's not that many guys left on this list that are like, oh, these are the guys who are just these absolute ridiculous bell cows who almost nobody else touches the ball with them.
Yeah. If Rashad White gets a high ankle sprain in week 2, Bucky Irvin's going to be averaging 25 points a game.
Probably, but they like Sean Tucker, right?
That's fine, but Sean Tucker might split some early down drives, might split first down, but he's not going to come in to be the 3rd down back. But that's
certainly right. You could certainly see an increase in Bucky at that point. But at 60%, if Bucky's getting 60% and can be not quite as efficient, but still really efficient, he's going to be smashing. I think Bucky's going to be great. I think everything about the system, the ecosystem, quarterback. Now we've had 2 coordinator switches in that spot is something that is a little concerning to me, just because dodging 1 is crazy, and then dodging 2 and having no kind of at least just a little bit of setback of how great you were or how good you were. Plus now Tristan Wirf's out maybe for an extended period of time, which kind of stinks. So there's a little bit in the short term there that I think might have to get figured out early on, where maybe it's like, hey, we're still figuring some things out. And maybe you even see not quite the best Bucky you saw at the end of last year, but I think you're going to be just fine there. So would you rather have Travion Henderson or Bucky Irving?
I mean, they're side by side. I mean, Travion Henderson is going to be so much fun. I know what type of usage Bucky Irvin's about to get. Like if you had to tell me for 1 year, it's Bucky Irvin all day. Right. I don't care what happens with Travion this year. It's Bucky Irvin all day. And if I got it wrong, okay. But like, if, coming in, they're basically same age. It's not a big deal. Travion's a stud. Bucky Irvin's a stud. Travion's got early 2nd round capital. Bucky Irvin doesn't. Bucky Irvin went out here and looked like Shady McCoy.
Yeah.
Right?
At this point, I don't care. That's irrelevant at this point.
Exactly.
I don't care. And you shouldn't either out there listening. We're done with that now. Right. Yes. Like, it's over. The capital no longer matters.
Well, so I mean, like Travion had the capital, but he hadn't done anything yet. Bucky didn't have the capital, and he came out and looked amazing.
Sure, and I would say that, like, I've got Bucky ranked 1 spot ahead of Travion, but in the same tier. Like I said, I got a lot of those rookies right there, right? I think what you may see from Travion is what kind of almost the same projection or same usage and same like the way you saw it kind of all just ramp up for Travion for Bucky, because he was the 5th, so he was battling for it. So I think you might see it go a little faster, but like because Travion's got the 2nd round capital, like you mentioned, so he's going to get a little bit more love and run and opportunity at first. He doesn't have to quite earn it and make it so he's quote unquote undeniable. Sure. But like I feel like the way that they're some catches, some 3rd downs, some this that you're going to see some big pop plays and some detractors from Travion for whatever will still say nah, and then by the end of the season you might see a full blown like Travion's really just attacking on all facets here, and we're at 60% usage for Travion.
I think the only thing that the biggest difference laying there for me for that is just like the Bucs offensive line, right? Mm-hmm. Bucky comes in as a rookie and like just behind a mauling offensive line, and then he's so slippery. Obviously, Travion, we love the first class speed, we love the sprinter speed, and I love the the fact that he runs every play like it's his last, whether, his physicality is through the roof for Travion. I mean, there's, to me, it would be one of those things like if you're on the clock and your Bucky and Travion are both there, I got no problem if you're splitting hairs on trying to make that decision. Like I said, I really feel like if you're, I don't want to ever fall into like, I'm trying to win now in the draft and be like, really make a huge difference if there's like a young stud there, but like Bucky Irvin's a young stud too. So like if you're back to back on those guys, if you want to have Travion over Bucky, I'm fine with that. But I really don't expect Travion Henderson to be able to put up he gonna break off something nice, but I don't think consistency wise like that Patriots offensive line's got a long way to go. And so does their second year quarterback, which he has also the upside in the world, but he's not right now processing and handling the running offenses like Baker Mayfield is, and being able to do everything he needs to do and check it down to the running back, or not execute the check down, but execute the Texas play or whatever. Bucky's doing work out there, and it's part of a system and part Bucky being awesome. Travion walks on the field, he's awesome. Josh McDaniels, we think he's going to put together a system that's awesome. He's always done that when he's not the head coach.
That's got to be the most exciting thing for your Travion Henderson stock is those guys being together and being able to kind of manipulate that offensive line, like being able to circumnavigate that offensive line with McDaniels in a short pass game, one for May's health and sanity and figure that out, and two for just helping that offensive line, the defense. All of a sudden, you get burned by a screen and some short passes from Travion a few times. All of a sudden, that D line, that D end, those D ends aren't coming as fast, right?
Yeah, but then on the other hand,
you're taking a step back. As who do I need to get out there and get him? What's happening? But we saw it for years with McDaniels and Brady, and obviously Brady's a different animal, but like just using that death by 1,000 paper cuts by that, and this guy's on steroids probably from any of those guys that they ever had there, right? So very interesting. Let's pivot to RJ Harvey real quick. 5th on the depth chart. Stupid.
5th on the depth chart.
Ridiculous nonsense. People
put a nail in him.
This is the kind of stuff that this is just any depth chart talk right now. It's like if you guys got nothing, there's nothing else y'all could talk about. Like if this isn't like a passing thing. Like, oh,
I love it.
This is so silly.
J.K. Dobbins, the classy, workman-like, awesome dude, great character, seasoned vet, 220-pound man to spin through all the adversity in the world, shows up. That dude's awesome. I love him. He shows up. He can pass protect. Of course he can. All of a sudden they sign him because right now Denver's my dark horse Super Bowl team. Right. Like I'm about to be betting Denver's futures, and like RJ Harvey, you think J.K. Dobbins shows up as a professional running back, and then Sean Payton's like, Harvey, I'm good. 5th of the depth chart. No, dude, come on, man. If you can use it in Dynasty, if you can use the J.K. Dobbins experience in Denver to get any discount RJ Harvey, good for you.
Yeah. And look, can Dobbins get a tick quicker and faster than he was at the end of last year? I'm sure he can, as he completely, gets back to where he was. And he was looked decent at the beginning of the year, seemed to lose a little steam at the end of the year. The efficiency metrics kind of show you that he wasn't great. I don't really care about those. I think he still looked like a solid RB out there playing the position.
Oh, he's got some of the best vision in the game.
He just lost that spark score athleticism that he had.
He got robbed from him. Dude tore his Achilles, tore his ACL, came back, tore his Achilles, doing a flip into the end zone. I mean, like just the worst injury luck you could ever ask for. And then, I mean, he had hardly any like athleticism spark last year, but still cutting it up through the hole for the Chargers.
Right. Just
vision. He was outrunning people with his eyes. And if he gets a little bit healthier, great. But he's not going to be able to, like, when you put him beside a young RJ Harvey, physically, it's not.
They did this already. They did this already last year. They went with, Javonte wasn't 1,100% back to where he was with his athleticism. Still was fine in some spots, but it was just like a. It wasn't like a which is RJ Harvey. And I hate these sound effects there, but that's like in my mind, I'm like, that's the difference between these two guys. This other guy can do so much and create explosive plays for you and breakaway plays and break dudes up.
That's a great sound effect. Very accurate for the analogy there.
So let's not.
One of them's a train. One of them's a train. One of them's a train start trying to get going, and the other one you just got.
The other one's built with magnets and can go from one end to the other one's this coal engine. The other one's built on magnets, and it's just I just again, Peyton saw this last year. He took RJ. Every other story has been outstanding about Harvey. So don't let this get you down. He's going to have a big role, and don't let somebody trick you into thinking that like Ingram's going to be Harvey's going to be the Mark Ingram in this situation, because that ain't happening. That's not the way this is going to go down. It's not this. They doesn't have the same running backs there. Like you're not going to like Dobbins is way closer to an Ingram than.
Sure, not even close. If you had to make it, it's obviously Dobbins is the Ingram. But the biggest, and we talked about this last week, but definitely the week before. Like we got. I'm almost preloading my trades for week 1 and week 2, right?
How would you like it if we paid your 2025 league entry fee? All you have to do is submit proof of a 5-star review from Spotify and/or iTunes. Click the link and fill out the entry form. Multiple entries allowed. Commandeer your friend's phone to quadruple your chances to win. Every losing entry rolls over to the next month's contest, all for your pleasure.
If J.K. Dobbins comes out and establishes it, yes, sir. Broncos are going to roll, Bo. The Broncos they hit it. They hit it with their quarterback. They hit it. They got a great defense. And in the first round of the draft this year, they just take best asset available. They go out and get a stud corner to go into a stud defensive backfield, and then they go running back wide receiver, right? Then they go right after RJ Harvey immediately. And so, like, they knew what they needed. Broncos are about to roll. And if J.K. Dobbins comes out and he's doing stuff early, great. Buy RJ Harvey even cheaper. Don't sell your RJ Harvey.
Yeah, and RJ Harvey's going to be on the field plenty from week 1 on, man.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if I do, dude, in week 1, if J.K. Dobbins
gets fumbles or does something, yes, sure.
Or
so RJ Harvey or Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving.
Okay, I got Bucky a scooch ahead of RJ Harvey. So you taking Travion or RJ?
See, that's you. This is perfect. This is why the people that have consistently been rolling with us for a few years, or if you really like the old schoolers have been rolling with us for 6, 7, 8 years, you didn't move down RJ Harvey for the J.K. Dobbins fiasco that has been the last 60 days.
Yeah, why would I do that?
I know exactly, but I feel like just I know, but like I feel like the world has the Dynasty community scooched him down some, and you're like, I got him a scooch behind Bucky, which is exactly where he needs to be. But the Dynasty world's got him 2 rounds behind Bucky.
So Kyren Williams or RJ Harvey?
I mean, RJ Harvey Dynasty 1 year only. Kyren Williams.
They're probably only a year apart from each other in age.
I know. Well, yeah, for sure. But still, I feel like once it gets going for RJ Harvey to pass it, like the amount of volume that could go to the running back room for Denver as far as past attempts to the running backs. Sean Payton there's nobody even close.
Kyren's only 6 months older than him.
RJ Harvey's probably older. He's probably older.
Kyren's 6 months younger, I think.
I love, and this is this works out perfectly because we could throw the catchphrase sample size in here, right? Like RJ Harvey, the sample size for Sean Payton's running back distribution of targets as far as like target share for position, we're talking about 10 or 12 years. Always at the top. Always at the top. They got a ton of pass catches last year.
Right. Well, that's the last 2 years they were just, they were throwing it to and he always has. And that's why RJ Harvey is really up here. It's just like the PPR floor of what it is. And it's just like they threw balls at Javonte and a bunch of other guys last year and the year before. And it just like, it was fine. It was kind of getting them a little bit of what they needed, but this can be game breaking stuff that can really just elevate the offense And I just don't think you're going to be doing that to J.K. Dobbins at a large clip. And I feel like that's going to be a lot more in R.J. Harvey. So that's why I kind of got him there.
Where's all the guys? Where's all the guys that were out there saying, giving us the R.J. Harvey's breakaway percentage in college is second only to an Ashton Genty that was another like 2 standard deviations above what R.J. Harvey was doing, but R.J. Harvey was second, right? So like we got a PPR floor here, we got a ceiling. Alvin Kamara was not Alvin Kamara, okay? Mm-hmm. He was not Alvin Kamara. There was people telling you do not draft Alvin Kamara in the first round of a rookie draft. And I'm like, why? Yeah. What are you talking about? Because the Saints I used to have Pierre Thomas in my RB2, Bo. I go way back with Sean Payton's running backs. Mm-hmm. So when he drafted
Mark Ingram.
No, Kamara. Sorry. So he drafted Kamara, but they had to give away a second round pick in the following draft to draft Alvin Kamara in that third round when he was a rookie. They wanted him so bad they didn't have it. They couldn't get the deal done. So they had to give a second round pick the next year to get it done. And then R.J. Harvey comes in here a decade later to Denver with Sean Payton, and he gets early second round capital. What do you think's going to happen? It's just that easy sometimes.
I mean, yeah, for sure. All right, let's pivot to one more, and we'll maybe get a little Trey Benson talk on the way out the door. I just want to we talked about Kyren and Chase Brown. Maybe I feel like it feels like it's Groundhog's Day and we're having like the same thing over again. It's a fifth or a fourth round pick. Everybody was telling you that he was a Jag and he's getting replaced the next year, and for whatever reason. And the year before that, nobody wanted anything to do with him because of the inefficiency stats that they were showing, but they weren't really watching the game because you could see that it was like a shoestring away from being these huge plays. Right. And it just wasn't quite getting there. And last year he, started off a little slow because Moss was in there, and then you get the Moss injury, and then you're not putting this genie back in the bottle. And there's no way Joe Burrow was going out there and be like, yeah, we need another running back, by the way, in this draft. Like, the Bengals needed everything. It made no sense. And now we're going to go through this whole cycle again. And people are like, well, he's out next year. And I'm like, is he? Like, I love this part. If Taj Brooks is just fine, like they'll probably just leave the running back room alone again. Hey, we could bring in a fifth rounder. That's cool. Bring in another one. Why not? Pretty much everybody does at this point. Some 5 through 7 rounder, and see if we can catch something with those guys, and we'll keep them around and kind of see what happens. But Chase Brown just getting more and more love from the team that has him. Of like, hey, you're gonna see more pass catching. We're gonna do more screens with him. We're gonna get him out of the backfield more. We're gonna, he's gonna be our guy. Yeah, for sure. And you see, like, they literally were playing preseason football tonight. We're recording this on Thursday, week 1 of preseason, and the Bengals did what they needed to do. They come out there with their ones on offense because they started 1-4 last year and 1-3 the year before that, and 1-3 the year before that. The Bengals start slow every year, and they come out there with their ones and they lay it on quick. 2 tutties right away. Joe Burrow, 13 out of 14, crushing it. Chase Brown, couple catches already. Boom, boom, boom. It's about to be the Chase Brown show. Chase Brown is about to crush it. And everything you just said, like, there's just, for some reason, there's some people just, if they were out on capital and they were out on them, that's it. That's really all.
If you're out on them, you can't come back around on it. You're out on them, and you just want to take lock it for a couple years and talk about how it's not going to work. And you come up with some kind of metric why he's bad. Meanwhile, he's just crushing it on my team. So Chase Brown, Casey calls it. I said Chasey. Casey calls it a year in advance. Chase Brown is going to get the Kyren Williams hate for the he's about to get replaced. I love that you're calling that a year in advance. Enjoy the Chase Brown show. I love the people that are on Twitter right now being like, I told you to get Chase Brown last year. And I'm like, did you? Literally, come on, man.
So would you rather have Josh Jacobs or Chase Brown?
Chase Brown.
Because it's Chase Brown, right? Would you rather have Christian McCaffrey or Chase Brown?
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, right? Would you rather have Kenneth Walker or Chase Brown? This is tough because if we get a full sample of Kenny, I think, and a full sample of Chase, I think it's similar, and I think they both really move up.
Agreed. I think they're going to move up together. And Chase Brown finally getting into the 5th round. I mean, it took forever. I think he should be closer. I think he should be late 4th. I think he should be right there with the other guys. Man, I think it could easily look like Kenneth Walker to start the season, but like obviously he's in and out of the lineup all the time. If I'm gonna take Kenneth Walker there, I'm gonna need Sharps to go with him. I'm gonna need that combo platter, Sharps to be the backup, and then I could probably get by. But if I can't definitely have Sharps in that combo platter with Kenneth Walker, I might just have to go Chase Brown because Chase Brown's about to catch 80 balls.
I think so too, and so, but so is Kenneth if he's healthy.
Agreed.
He's going to
catch
a million balls.
And it's not even like Kenny Walker between the tackles. Chase Brown's a stud, but Kenneth Walker between the tackles is a better running back than Chase Brown. I can give you that.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to plug my computer in. We need to pause right here for a second. It's going to go dead if I don't.
All right, one more. Let's go Chase Brown, Kyren. I think I'm going Chase Brown. Volume as far as pass catching, offensive efficiency, no quarterback with a back injury right now.
Don't go there.
It's true. Better offensive line, I think, for Kyren as long as they're healthy, right?
That ain't hard to do.
Yeah.
It ain't hard to beat the Bengals on the offensive line. And we know they don't have many players on defense. So like there you go again. Like we go Chase Brown is about to crush this year and they get to the draft next year. They're going to be a lot more bigger fish to fry, some big ass fish to fry that's not has anything to do with the filling out the running back room.
Chase Brown or the rookies like RJ Harvey that we just talked about, or Travion Henderson, or a notch below them because of the rookies and the capitals that they have, and the rate of explosion and the less public hatred, or right in there with them in the same tier, but maybe just kind of below them or slightly above them. What do you?
I think, I got some hate when I had Malik Neighbors over Tyreek Hill, but before Malik Neighbors stepped on the NFL field, like I don't think that I can have Travion below Chase Brown. I think just the Travion Henderson, just his popularity, like you said, that the pop that he gets as a rookie, everybody loves him. Everybody wants to be a part of that 80-yard touchdown when it happens, right? I don't think I can have Chase Brown over Travion Henderson, but there's no chance that I would take Chase Brown, out of my lineup for Travion Henderson week 1.
Yeah.
All or week 17. Chase Brown this year lines. If you tell me Chase Brown's on the Bengals for the next 3 years, it is what it is, right? Like I mean, if you're given health, I know Travion's a rookie. He's younger. He's going to get a lot more leash for the public opinion. His public opinion starts way higher. Chase Brown's climbing it up, just like you were talking about with Bucky. Chase Brown's just climbing up that popularity ladder, and
people
Chase
are getting more comfortable with the idea. I love it.
Yeah, got to break it in. Got to go, just the tip at first.
Let's end with this one, and I'll end with it because could potentially if. And I'm not forecasting this, and I don't wish this on anybody, and yada yada yada. There's a lot of people are like Trey Benson because injuries for James Conner. I'm not doing that, but Trey Benson could have a trajectory like Chase Brown this season, right? He could really be a league winner right now and be like a dark horse RB1 candidate if anything should happen to James Conner, who is a little older and has had some bumps and bruises along the way throughout his career, right? But absolutely was spectacular this year. But recently you've seen the coaches saying they like what they're seeing from Benson. They love his pass catching ability. And James Conner himself is like, yeah, this dude's awesome. Like he's definitely going to get more touches this year. So what are we doing with Chase Brown? What are we doing with Trey Benson kind of right now as far as rankings? Would you rather have Trey Benson or Aaron Jones?
Trey Benson.
Benson.
Let's just in case not everybody watching this is a seasoned veteran. I didn't mean I want Trey Benson in my lineup week 1 instead of Aaron Jones, right? I mean dynasty value. I'd rather have Trey Benson over Aaron Jones right now 100 times out of 100. Yes, Aaron Jones is going to put up points, but he's 30-something years old already, and I'll take the young guy who can catch and break it from anywhere. They're sitting behind a stud. Like I don't expect Trey Benson to do a whole lot in the first couple of weeks. I really don't. The team can tell you all they want to tell you. This team wants to win games, and James Conner's going to help them win games start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as he's healthy, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of Trey Benson, to be honest with you.
I think you're going to see a little bit more of them than even if they're healthy. I think he's going to mix in a little bit more here. Pacheco or Benson?
Benson.
All right. Scatabo or Benson?
Scatabo.
Whoa. All right. Trey Benson or Tyrone Tracy? Benson? I'm going Tracy on that one. Pollard.
Yeah, I mean,
Pollard or Benson?
It's Benson, but Tony Pollard's really good. Tony Pollard's a good football player.
I'm sticking with I'm sticking with Pollard. There's another. I
don't hate that.
2-3 more years. I mean, he was 15 points a game last year on a dog poop.
Exactly. All right, here's how this is going to work. Week 3, everybody's going to have Pollard over Benson most likely,
sure.
Right? Because they're going to be like, "Oh my God, you're right. This guy really is that." And when Cam Ward lifts the whole, rising tide lifts all those boats right there, Tony Pollard's going to be looking good. If James Conner's healthy, everybody will take Pollard over Benson in week 3, and Benson's going to get a little bit cheaper. Pollard's going to get a little bit more expensive. But right now, we're still 3 weeks away from real football. We love that shiny object. We like to forget how good Tony Pollard is.
Heat check on how quick that Scatabo thing was. Scatabo or RJ Harvey?
Huh?
Okay, just making sure. We didn't have
heat check. You just dropped 6 rounds of Dynasty startup value.
All right, Travis Etienne or Trey Benson?
Etienne.
Same. All right. So we got some Trey Benson action.
That was a soft Etienne. That was a soft Etienne.
Firm Etienne for me.
Soft Etienne.
Brian Robinson or Trey Benson? Trey Benson.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I hate to have to give the prerequisite Trey Benson on my bench week 1 dynasty value is greater than Brian Robinson, but like I have no problem plugging my B-Rob into my starting lineup every week.
Mm-hmm. All right, real quick. The old running backs, the Kamaras, the James Connors, the Derrick Henrys, or Trey Benson. Obviously, depends on where your team is. Let's say middling to closer to rebuilding. What would you do?
I mean, I still want Derrick Henry on my team right now. I know we went through it last year and we're like, he's too old. He can't do it. But like he came back out and he did it again. And I see these videos. Just
value wise, like if you're middling team and you're heading towards the rebuild, the older guys or Trey Benson?
I still, even if I'm middling heading towards the rebuild right now, I'm holding. If I had to make one of the other I think I can get more for Derrick Henry in week 3 than Trey Benson may potentially ever be worth.
Yeah. All right.
And that could be wrong. Trey Benson gets the start and James Conner goes down. Trey Benson's electric. Okay. He's out of here, but Trey Benson's mid. Conner gets hurt. Trey Benson's mid. Derrick Henry's still over here. He might be going for some, second round of Hall of Fame nod over here. Derrick Henry might play for 3 more years and get another 5,000 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got you. All right, let's wrap this one up. If you want some more FFD, there's plenty on the Patreon side of things. We got a bunch of divisional breakdowns over there. We'll probably put some out to the public as well. We're 3 deep. We'll be 4 deep by the time you see this. So we've got the rankings and ADP and we're gonna have redraft rankings over there pretty soon and some projections as well. So lots of good stuff over there. Plenty of mock drafts if you want them. There's also the free Discord that you can get in some mock drafts as well. So make sure you go check all that out if you haven't already. If you're not using FFPC, and you haven't checked out that video of us doing a startup on there, go check out FFPC if you're out of friends to play Dynasty with. And if you're new to best ball or you haven't tried it out yet, make sure you go try Fast Draft out. You can use promo code FFD on that. But they've got a full 15-round best ball thing going on, and it's probably been my favorite thing to draft right now, to be quite honest, right? It's quick, it's fun, it's easy, it's 15 rounds, it's full point PPR. It's not 3 wide receivers, right? So, a little different than underdog, a little softer than underdog, less people who have really figured everything out. It's the first year it's going on. So if you haven't tried it out, go download the app, deposit a little cashish, promo code FFD, get you $50 deposit match. Make sure you check all that out. So I'm sure there was already a promo in there somewhere from Jason, but I wanted to say that I've actually been using it. I like it a lot. And I've, it's the Rabbit's a whole lot of fun. And if there's some more screen recording options and a better live thing, I'd be peppering you with them. They're not quite there yet, but it's I'm going to record some draft boards and kind of go through the rounds and stuff here. Maybe by the time you see this, there might be one out, but make sure you check it out. It's really good. They're really onto something over there, Matt and the guys.
Yeah, it's fun. I've drafted a few. I need to get a couple more in before it's too late.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week. Peace.